Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here, and today I come to you surrounded by all these evil high capacity magazines and boxes of ammo and all of this, and what I want to talk to you about right now is election year preparedness. Basically what's going on is, of course, the conventions are wrapping up, the candidates have been chosen. We are a politics free channel, so we're not going to talk about the candidates themselves. But I do want to talk to you about the effect of the process, especially if you're a newer shooter just getting into this, within the past 3 years, and you haven't ridden through one of these election cycle effects. It may come as a surprise to you some of the things that are going to happen. So as they start fighting the two candidates, the two primary candidates start fighting each other and throwing things around, what you're going to start to see is some fear building up in the gun community about one or the other getting into office and what's going to happen. And what you see is a run on certain things. And so what we want to talk to you about today is, if you're into shooting, now is the time to get some of the things that you might need to ride out a bit of a dry spell that's going to occur. As you get closer to the elections, certain ammo will disappear from the shelves, high capacity magazines will disappear from the shelves, certain types of weapons will disappear. ARs, for example, just became impossible to get a hold of. And there's going to be some price gouging that's going to start to take place. Even some well-respected major retailers engaged in some price gouging activities, as well as, there was one major retailer that canceled everybody's order for an AR. They'd already taken the money, they'd committed it to it, and they just canceled everybody's orders and sent them their money back when they got around to it. Other retailers canceled orders claiming that they were out of stock, and then you'd immediately see the same item relisted on their site for significantly more. So I'm not going to propose to you today that you go and spend a bunch of money you don't have buying a bunch of things you don't need. But what I do want to do is give you some ideas of some of the things you can do for things that you do want or do intend to get, maybe just haven't gotten around to yet, or in the case of ammo, try to ride out the dry spell and be able to enjoy shooting your weapons. Today you probably have the luxury of going to the range and saying, I'll take a box of 9 or a box of 40 or a box of 45 and going out to the range and shooting. And right around the election time and for several months after, that wasn't an option. 9mm disappeared fairly quickly and was rationed, and 22 has disappeared almost immediately. As soon as it started cranking up, 22 disappeared. And by the way, before the last one, I could buy a box of this for about $5.99. This was purchased recently, it's $9.99. But it took actually close to 2 years after the election for 22 to reappear on the market. So you're going to have problems getting ammo. So I don't propose that you be a hoarder and buy up a bunch of ammo and try to jack up the price and sell it at a profit. Those are the types of people that actually are the problem. They're the cause of the problem. But what I would suggest you do is do what you see here. I've got, right here I've got a box of 1000 Blazer brass. It's 9mm. We shoot a lot of 9mm. When we take a 9mm out, we tend to go through 100 or 200 rounds between the two of us. So, this box of 1000 is really 4 or 5 range outings for the two of us if we take our 9mm out. So 1000 rounds sounds like a lot of ammo. It's really not when you consider a GSSF competition or many of the other popular competitions will go through 150 to 200 rounds per match. So watch for it to be on sale. I think when we bought this particular case, we got it for around $225-ish delivered, and it'll change daily. But go through what you shoot. Look at the guns you have. Look at what you shoot. And keep track of what you burn through when you go to the range, how many boxes you buy at the range, that type of thing. And add that up and figure out, well, maybe I'll buy 500 rounds or 250 rounds of this particular ammo to guarantee myself the ability to go out and shoot. And the other thing that you want to do is, once you have this stash, if you're going to a public range where they sell ammo, bring your ammo with you, but then buy ammo there if it's at a reasonable price. So I may take 4 boxes with me and then buy 2 or buy 4, so it reduces the burn rate of draining my supplies. Some of the ammos that disappeared real quick, 9mm, 22, and you wouldn't really think it, but 380. That kind of dried right up as well. And really that kind of attributes to the concealed carry market. Everybody has an interest in concealed carry, and it's ramping up. The application rate in states that permit it is just through the roof. And 380s and 9mm are popular concealed carry guns. So the ammo for those dried up right away because people wanted to be able to make sure that they could shoot and practice with their concealed carry gun. The other thing that kind of disappeared was, the higher end versions of defense ammo. So this is Federal HST. We use the HST in all of our different concealed carry guns, and this became impossible to get for a significant amount of time. Then you get into some ammos that are constant targets of bans. These are the infamous green tips. And everybody's talking about, every once in a while you'll hear talk about banning these, claiming that they're armor piercing. They're really not. They call them the penetrator, but they're not armor piercing rounds. And this ammo has really never been implicated in any kind of a problem, but it's a popular target, as well as 5.7, which I've got right here. I got this is a case of 500 5.7 for the 5.7 handgun or the P90 rifle. This is also constantly targeted by the banning crowd and gets very difficult to get during the election year rhetoric. So you buy some to, again, have enough on hand to shoot. The other thing you'll want to think about is magazines. Any magazine that has a capacity more than 10 pretty much disappeared, and for a significant amount of time. So, you might think of, okay, I got this 47 round AK mag. That's a lot of ammo, that's a big magazine, and they disappeared, right away. But you might not think about this little magazine here. It's just a 15 round magazine. This is the factory mag that comes with a P320, a 6-hour P320 compact. This is just the default mag. And if you buy a Glock 19, its default mag is 15 rounds. So just your regular home defense carry gun, if the magazine capacity is greater than 10, they tend to disappear. 10 seems to be the magic number that's been chosen as the line between evil and good. And when there was fear of a ban, which is you get the panic, when there was fear of a ban, anything that was greater than 10, people bought up whether they needed it or not. You take this magazine, which is 20 rounds for the FN 5.7. These are hard to get today, just normally, because they don't make a whole lot of them. 5.7 or FN makes so many and they ship them, and that's that. When they're gone, they're gone. So if you've got one of the more esoteric weapons, like the 5.7 or some of those, you may find that your magazines disappear not because they're necessarily part of anybody's targeted bans, but simply because they get swept up in that buying panic. And then, of course, you get into the more high capacity, like this 21 round mag that came with the TAC Ops, or the ubiquitous Glock Fun Stick. These just evaporated and disappeared. And it took quite a while before you could get legitimate OEM Glock once again. There was a Korean company that made them, and you could get those almost right away. And they worked, but they weren't ever quite as good as the Glock magazines. And here's one you're probably not going to think of as being necessarily all that big of a deal and evil. But this is a 22 magazine. This is for the H&K 416, which is chambered in 22. And these also became very difficult to get, simply because they are considered high capacity, even though it's just 22, but high capacity nonetheless. And PMags, you're pretty much swimming in them today. No matter where you go, PMags are hanging from the shelves everywhere, and you can get them for anywhere between $11 and $15, depending where you look. I remember going to a gun show right during the last election cycle, and these things were selling for $100 a piece with people that were price gouging. So even you take something like this drum, these really took a long time to become re-available. So what I'm proposing you do is look at what you've got, look at the magazines that you've got for the various guns that you have, and do you have sufficient capacity for riding out a 2 to 3 month storm? Do you have enough magazines? If you've been putting off getting that 4th magazine for your Glock 17 so that you can shoot a GSSF match, go ahead and get it when you've got the little extra funds available. Look at your ammo burn rate and buy enough ammo to survive at least a couple 3 months of a dry spell being able to go out. One of the things that we did, luckily we did it before the last one, is we kind of diversified our calibers. A lot of people, they want to focus, okay, I just want to have 9. I want all my guns to be 9, and there's some merit to that. But we've got 9, 45, 40, 380, 10 millimeter, all the assorted rifle calibers, as well as many revolver calibers. And the revolver ammo never really dried up. But what that allowed us to do when we didn't have supply on hand is call the range and say, what do you have in stock? Oh, we got lots of 40 today, but we don't have any 9 or 45. Okay, well, we could pick our 40s up from the safe, and that's what we took that day to go shoot. So if you diversify your calibers a little bit, budget permitting, you might find yourself in a position that if you don't have ammo on hand for the gun that you really want to shoot, and the range is out of it, that you can take that out. The other thing is, if you have been planning on getting an AR pattern rifle, an AK-47, a high-capacity handgun, and you just haven't gotten around to it, it's in the plans, you're going to do it, and you just haven't gotten around to it, you might want to move on that. What I'm starting to see when I visit the gun stores is the AR shelf is starting to be empty, and there was a period of time where they just completely were gone. Anything that was high capacity, the AK-47s and Glocks, pretty much disappeared. And keep in mind the line for high capacity for a gun banner is 10. For us in the gun industry, 10, 15, 17 is nothing. That's just average. A Glock 17 rounds. There's nothing exotic about that. But for some reason, 10 seems to be the magic number. So when I say high capacity, a Glock 19 is considered high capacity in that context. So if you've been thinking about getting something along those lines, you might want to do it, within the next couple months. If you have been just buying ammo as you need it, build up a little stash. If you can't afford from your budget perspective to buy a case of it, then when you go to the range, buy 4 boxes and shoot 2. Bring 2 of them home. And then next time you go to the range, buy 4 boxes and shoot 2. And, kind of build up a little buffer that way. So that at least throughout the dry spell you can continue to enjoy, the pleasure you get from your firearms. And in the case of, self-defense ammo, if you're low on self-defense ammo, this is Zombie Max for the 380, go ahead and buy the defense ammo that you've been needing to, fill out your capacity, because that's going to disappear. If you're at Walmart and you happen to see one of these boxes, I got this one for like $60 at Walmart, it was sitting on the shelf, pick it up. If you see some 22, pick it up. And hopefully you can ride out the pending zompocalypse caused by the election year politics and the rhetoric that'll be there. And as far as which one's going to get into office and what's going to happen when they do, that'll be seen. But regardless of which one it is, as we get closer to the date, the drought will begin, and probably the duration of the drought will be determined by which one gets picked. So that's what we have for you today, just some suggestions on how we plan to ride out, as we have in prior years, the election year politics as it affects firearms and the availability of the varying things that we've got here. If you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, check us out on Facebook, and have a great day. Thank you.